Karen, did you know that we've been compared to the Energizer Bunny?
I did not know that.
Right?
Wait, like you and me particular, or people in general?
Well, the show itself has been compared
What?
to the Energizer Bunny. Yeah.
Wow.
Sadly, the way I heard it, it has a question mark at the end. Like, is that show really still going?
Oh, wow. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Well, I'm here to celebrate the fact that we are like the Energizer Bunny. We got a lot of energy and we're only just getting started. Well, much like our show, human beings have an energy system all of their own. Now, what if I told you that it's possible to recharge that internal energy system whenever we wanted to without any cost whatsoever?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. The fact is that we can. And our next guest finds it shocking that none of us are actually taught this when we're kids. And in fact, feels like it should be right along the lines of brushing your teeth.
Ooh.
Right. So by the end of this episode, we're going to learn exactly what the human energy system is and how everyone can learn to work with their own. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
So we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something.
Anything.
That will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Welcome to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And today we're excited to bring on the show Dr. Susan Corso. She's a metaphysician and an intuitive and an author who has had a spiritual consulting practice for over 40 years. She must have been 42 when she started. She must have been 2 years old when she started. But her latest books are the 8 Energy Integrity Workbooks that teach applied practical knowledge of how our chakras reflect our past, how they can be changed in the present, and how to use our own human energy systems to create our future. If that doesn't excite you, nothing's gonna. Welcome to the show, Dr. Susan Corso. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Will. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to have this visit.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for reaching out and for coming on the show. Chakras are something that we haven't really touched on, and it is that mysterious energy system that people talk about, but everyone has their own idea of what they are, everyone knows where they are, but what they are, how to use them. And I've even heard some people talk about the fact that we've got to actually disconnect ourselves from our chakras. Have you heard that?
Never,
right? It's a movement that's just starting out, and it scares me.
Well, you know what's interesting is that you hear the term chakra, and everybody hears it, has an idea what it is. But yeah, we have never had like an expert to come and talk to us, because it seems like even though it's a commonly known about topic, not a lot of people really know about it. Does that make sense?
It does, and now we do. So enter Dr. Corso.
Enter Dr. Corso. Well, let me tell you what chakras are not. They are not solid hockey pucks lined up against your spine.
Well, that's
in different colors. Not. What the chakras actually are, I'm going to go backward in order to go forward and explain it. So when an ordinary person goes to medical school, they study 11 systems. The circulatory system, the skeletal system, the respiratory, the list, right? We learned that sort of in the 8th grade. Well, but those students are not asking the question, what makes a circulatory system circulate? And yes, I know the heart is a pump. The heart makes it circulate, but what gives it the impetus to work? What makes the respiratory system respire? I would answer that, the life force. And the chakra system is the life force, the spark of life, viewed through a prism. So the spark of life would be starlight, essentially. Not white light, all color. Which is why the chakras are associated with the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and I use an 8th one, rose. Those energies are spheres. They're 3-dimensional spheres that live and sort of float in the center of your body, in front of your spine, sort of, and infusing your organs.
But you mentioned that they're not a hockey puck, but you said they're 3-dimensional spheres. Are they 3-dimensional or are they 5-dimensional? I mean, they're not a physical thing, right?
Well, they're a squillion dimensional in that case.
Okay. All right. Just so we are on the same page. It's not a physical thing. It's an energetic thing, like a vortex.
It's a frequency.
Frequency.
What
Got
you
it.
get on what you hear on the radio isn't a physical thing. It's a frequency. That's what it is. It's a vibration. And in the rainbow, different vibrations are different lengths of light. That's what makes color color. But what I say about chakras that I've never heard anybody else say ever is this. If I had a piano in front of me and I played middle C for you and I said to you, well, Karen, this is music. You would say to me, no, it's not. It's middle C.
Right. It's just a note, a single note.
It's a note, right? The important thing about chakras isn't that you have a red chakra or an indigo chakra. The important thing about chakras is that they talk to each other. They're not discrete hockey pucks against your spine. They're living, breathing frequencies that react to everything in your environment. They react to your past. They react to your present. They react to your future. You have your past life. It's almost like the chakras are what brain scientists might ascribe as the subconscious mind. They remember everything. And the chakras are what create the human aura, which is layers of light that surround every single body. The normal, healthy human aura is about 8 feet all the way around. Left, right, front, back, up, down. 8 feet. Now, let's say you've just had your evaluation at work, and it didn't go so well. I feel like you've been punched in the third chakra, which is your solar plexus.
Oh, I would say that was in the face.
Well,
Bad eval would be in the face.
Maybe, but the energetic reaction would be to feel your power diminished.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Which-
I meant what I did. What my reaction? Punching.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
No. I didn't mean literally.
Nice.
I meant an energetic reaction. So your third chakra would feel like, somebody just punched me. Well, that yellow layer in your aura, that yellow chakra in your musical energetic system is not playing the notes that it normally plays. It's licking its wounds. It needs some help, right? But if you were working in an emergency room and somebody walked in with a gunshot wound, would you poke it? You wouldn't.
Not if you want to get punched in the face.
Exactly. Not if you value your face. So
Not if you don't want to get punched in the face.
right. So you don't work in the third chakra when it's wounded. You work in the one below it, and you work in the one above it, and you feed it energetic frequency top and bottom. So if your yellow chakra is hurting, you work with orange in your second chakra, and you infuse it up. So you're sort of ending up working with orange yellow. And then from your heart chakra, which is green, you sort of end up infusing green yellow. And that revitalizes your power, right? Now, you can do that in a million ways. You can do that by intentionally working in your own energy system, or you can call your bestie and say, oh, my boss is such a jerk. And your bestie can say, oh, you're so right. And you feel better, right? It's the same thing. But what if you can't get your bestie on the phone? What if you're really stuck? You're on your own. What we don't know is that we have energy systems, let alone how to work with them or fix them. So we go through the rest of the day feeling like our stomachs have been punched in. We can't eat lunch. We get low blood sugar. We're feeling crummy. We get a headache. And by the time we get home, all we want to do is eat things that probably aren't the best for us. Well, you could instead take 30 seconds out of your workday and very quietly work in your own chakra system.
That's all it takes? 30 seconds?
30 seconds would be a long treatment.
Wow.
Okay. That sounds amazing.
I can get behind that.
But how? Like, what do? You just visualize a color in that area of your body?
Well, that's one way to do it. But here's the thing. Your best friend when it comes to your energy is your body. And the reason for that is this. Bodies are really cool. Now, if you're a socialized female Western woman, you probably think some of your body is really cool, but some of it isn't.
I was going to go further and say some bodies are pretty cool. Others are like,
Yeah,
whoa.
and others aren't. Well, bottom line though, Bodies can't lie. They don't lie because they can't lie. Right? So by the time you have an illness, let's say, a bodily symptom. So let's say you've gotten yourself a cold, right? So Sunday night, you didn't get a really good night's sleep and you didn't really feel like going to work Monday, but you went anyway and you had to push through a meeting and you ended up staying late. And then the next day, your throat was a little bit sore. And then your kid comes home from daycare with a cold. And then by Thursday, you have a cold, right? You don't start out with, boom, cold. You start out with an energetic symptom. How do you fix that on Monday so it doesn't show up as a cold? You learn to listen to your body. Your body will say, I don't feel quite right. And they're actual sensations, right? If somebody actually gave you really, really bad feedback or really bad news, bad emotional news, you'd feel that as an actual sensation in your body. Anybody who's ever been through a breakup, a romantic breakup, knows what that feeling is in their heart.
Okay, I guess we got to talk about something else then, because I've never gone through that. I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe Karen will be the only one who understands that then. Karen and me. But that pain is an energetic message. You can fix that sitting in your car at a traffic light. No cost, no mat, no teacher, no class, no nothing. But we are not taught that we even have energy systems. So if you don't know that you have a system, how are you supposed to be able to even tune in, figure out, and bottom line, actually, and see, here's the place where things fall apart, learn to trust that your body is telling you something. Right? Because what we've learned to do, because this is what Western medicine does, is we use our brains to overpower our sensations, our bodies. We go, oh, nah, I don't feel that bad. We weren't together that long. It didn't really matter. Right? Your heart is like sinking. You're going to go home and walk beaches for 3 weeks in a row and cry until you get it out. Right? Well, there's another solution. And it doesn't mean don't feel your feelings. Your feelings are absolutely part of your energy system. But if you don't know it exists, you don't know that you can actually affect what's going on. So let's do that scenario over again. But you decide you're going to go in and you are going to ask for a 50% raise. Nobody asks for a 50% raise. And nobody gets a 50% raise. Everybody knows that, right? Everybody knows that.
Well, sure.
Okay, so you punch up your third chakra, you give yourself some power, you watch Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, and so you take your Wonder Woman pose, right? And you do your thing, and you go, I can do this. The worst thing that happens is the boss says no, right? The worst thing that happens. But if I don't ask, I'm not even going to get a 20% raise. So what the hell? Why not? And you energize yourself. Now, you might, in that situation, also energize your fifth chakra, your throat chakra, which is turquoise. And the reason you would want to do that is so that you didn't trip up in your speech, right? You want to be able to speak clearly and powerfully. This is why I deserve a 50% raise. You hired me for 20 hours a week, and I'm working for 40 hours a week. Do the math.
Right. So, but you're talking my language, right? You're speaking my language. That's all sounds great, but I'm still not sure I know how to energize those chakras.
You learn to listen to your body and you start to visualize. You start to imagine colors. And I don't want you to take this as literally as most people do. Some people actually hear sounds for colors, right? Other people have sensations for colors, right? I'm not saying you have to have a perfect turquoise screen in your third eye in order to be able to say what you have to say. I want to tell you, I don't care if you need to use finger paints in your own mind. You use whatever helps you feel like you can use color for energy for yourself.
So if you're trying to clear your solar plexus, what color is that, for example?
It's egg yolk yellow.
Yellow. Okay, so then you got gut punched and you're trying to energize that to try to get you up and going again. So you just visualize yellow in your solar plexus and make it bright yellow, or do you breathe through it? Like, how do you?
You can do that. You can breathe it in. You could put your hand on your solar plexus and imagine that there was yellow coming out of it. You could also, by intention, pull on the chakra below it and lift that orange up to goose up that energy and send love from your fourth chakra, which is your personal heart, because it's self-love that and self-esteem that gets jammed when that happens, right? And send it that way. You could imagine a big yellow ball taking up residence, right? You could imagine the sun moving into your body, whatever works for you. And I have to tell you, I've taught this to, type A tech CEOs. And they have been looking at me like I have been, from planet Q.
Well, I did notice the three heads, but
Ah, yes. Well.
so really, it's just putting your energy in that particular area, right? Your focus.
And focus. That's exactly right. Focus. It's paying attention when your body says, "Hey, pay attention. This hurts."
Gotcha. So it's like a little kid going, "Hey, mommy, daddy, I need something." You're just giving that area your attention.
Well, if your kid were bleeding into his sock, you would be paying attention to his knee, wouldn't you?
Well, yes.
Okay. It's that. Only we bleed energetically and we don't know it, right? That's the thing that's so hard. How many people do you know who live their lives overwhelmed, overbooked, overstressed? Toast.
Have you met my husband, Will?
What I was going to say is, we live in the United States of America,
Yeah.
don't we?
We do. But you can learn literally between phone calls, between appointments. Oh my God, my throat's getting really tired. I'm saying the same thing over and over to everybody on the committee. Shoot, I should have had a Zoom meeting or sent an email to everyone first, right? A little turquoise right here will loosen it up and calm you down, right? What? So learning to pay attention to those signals, which are much subtler than the blood in the sock thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to ask you again about that breakup. So you're, in the car and you're trying to, visualize and you feel better. Will that last, or do you have to continually do this? Because you might feel better, but then you remember again about the breakup and then you start to feel bad again. Like how do you fix that?
It's a really good question. So
one word: rebound.
Let her answer the question, please.
Sorry.
Well, rebound is an external way to fix it, but it's a Band-Aid that's a sieve,
Right.
not healing, right? Not long-term healing. What Karen is looking for is finishing that emotional experience so that she can move on. Am I right?
Yes. So you don't have to relive it over and over, and it doesn't last a year. Maybe it'll last a couple months.
Right. Or even a couple hours.
Oh, that would be great.
Wait. Are you planning on breaking up with someone in the near future or something?
The way this conversation's going.
Ouch. Wow. Well, Doc, nice job here.
No. So there are a couple things to do. Really, it matters why the breakup happened. And I'll tell you the reason it matters is because if you were sitting in that chair and you had just had a breakup, and Will, you were sitting in that chair, and I know you can't imagine this, but go with me for a minute, and you had just had a breakup, right?
Okay.
You would have it wired into your energy system completely differently than Karen's, even though the presenting symptom is the same, right? So Karen, in your case, it might be self-esteem, which would be your third chakra, right? Or wondering about the sexual connection that you had with the person that didn't always feel so right. So that'd be your second chakra, right? Mm-hmm. And Will, yours might be, the conversations really weren't that good. That would take you up here to your sixth chakra. Whoa, those are completely different problems. That's why I have stayed so fascinated with this all these years, because I could be in a room full of 200 people, all of whom want to lose 5 pounds, and they all want to lose 5 pounds, and it's all hooked up differently for every one of them. Different reasons for every single person. It is the wildest and coolest thing ever, because we are, despite the special snowflakes in our world, we are actually snowflakes. right? We are all
One of a
different.
kind, right?
Right. So, a couple of things, Karen. One is, this is why I work with an eighth chakra. Now, the eighth chakra is rose pink, and it lives about 6 inches in front of your thymus gland, which is the center of your sternum, in the center of your chest, right? And it was discovered in the 1870s by the Kabbalistic rabbis, and they discovered it as what they considered compassion or God's love, as opposed to personal love. So first and foremost in this breakup, it's your personal love that's hurt, right? It's your personal heart that's hurt. That's emerald green. So if there's been a betrayal associated with this breakup, for example, somebody cheats on you, please God, that should never happen. But somebody cheats on you and you can't forgive the person. And right in the blush of it, you shouldn't be able to forgive the person. You should need to feel your feelings and be mad and be betrayed and have that bestie conversation. Mm-hmm. But then you scoop up the tendrils and the dust bunnies and the big old honking ouches and the lacerations of that hurt, and you put them from your fourth chakra into your eighth chakra. So that's an unconditional personal regard place. That's the place where I put all the people I don't want to vote for.
How do you put them there?
You imagine it.
Visualize.
Some people use a vacuum cleaner, right? They vacuum out their hearts and move it up and whoosh, there, right? What you don't want to do, though, is take that betrayal and not resolve it in yourself and then go through the next year of your life with betrayal radar, because you're going to see everything as betrayal. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't want to see it through that lens. And yes, you can do it repeatedly, but if you are in a hurry, if you're trying to avoid your feelings or do a spiritual bypass, right? Oh, I'm above feeling hurt about this. Yeah, really? So check your ID card, because I'm pretty sure it's human, and so you're not
right.
above this, right? If this happened in your life, whatever the this is, there's something to learn and heal and grow from. And the moment you reject it, you become like a beacon for it, right? Whatever you think about, don't think about purple giraffes. Oh, how fast?
Yep.
Right? I could do it with anything. I used to do it. I talked I did motivational speeches in the nuclear industry 150 million years ago. Nuclear scientists. It was hilarious, right?
Wow.
And I was proving to them about how their brains worked mostly. And I said to them, okay, don't think about the Statue of Liberty. Right? Up my hand would go. Okay, now, don't think about the Statue of Liberty in a tutu. Plinka, plinka, you could see her, right? In the top of the jewelry box. Well, that what you resist persists. That's part of that. We hear that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote in metaphysics all the time. Well, there's a second part to it that nobody talks about. What you perceive, you receive. So if you're looking at the whole world through this big old honking lens of everybody's going to betray me, honey, they are going to betray you, right? So what you're looking for is healing as well as curing. The curing makes the heartache stop, but the healing is emotional and spiritual. I believe that human beings are fourfold. Most people don't talk about it this way: body, heart, mind, spirit, in order of density, right? It takes you longer to learn something in your body than in your spirit. You can know the truth about something spiritually and just not quite get there in your body, right? Because it takes time. It's slower. Mm-hmm. So spiritually, you can understand that there's something that you needed to learn from this breakup, and it's perfectly all right. And you can bypass all that. But whoa. We got body, heart, and mind that all need healing. Because the next time you go on a blind date, if you don't do the work, you're just going to play it out again. And you're going to think, Jesus and Mary, I saw this movie.
Wow, do I have someone
I saw this movie. Wait a minute.
You hear people always saying that. Why am I attracting the same kind of guy or the same abusive whatever? You hear that all the time.
Yeah, do I have someone that needs to listen to this episode?
I think we all know a few people.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, because you have some kind of pattern hooked into your energy system that you haven't cleaned up. Let me tell you a story. I had a woman come to me in her 50s. She was an opera singer. And she had lost the top third of her range. She was a soprano. And she was panicking because she had contracts to sing in German opera houses all over Europe. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. The top third of my range is gone. And I looked at her and I thought, wow, something's choking her. I don't know how I knew that, because that's all straight intuition. So I said, what are you choking on? Usually that means there's something you need to say or something you wish you hadn't said. So what is that? Well, it took me an hour to finally drag out of her that age 14, she'd had an abortion. Pro-abortion, against abortion, it doesn't matter which you are. She was hurting from it. I said to her, were you raised Catholic? She said, yes. I'm going to give you 2 words, I said. I want you to say them as often as you think of them. Within 10 days, you'll be able to sing again. She said, God, what could those words be? I said, te absolvo. I absolve you, which is what a priest says at the end of confession. That's what she needed to hear. She needed to become her own priest, because she was never going to walk back into a Catholic church and confess that to a priest ever in her whole life.
She needed to forgive herself.
Forgive herself. But she needed to forgive herself in the way that she needed it, which was as her own priest, not to go look in the bathroom mirror and say, I forgive you. No. In fact, most of us misuse forgiveness in this world. We make ourselves forgive way too early, which is why in the breakup situation, Karen, I would say to you, yeah, don't forgive him or her or them. Don't. Not yet. Wait till you have your feelings. Wait till you have your reactivity. Otherwise, you're just going to push it down and it's going to show up somewhere else. And all of us know what that feels like.
Now, let's flip that on the other side. What about the person that cheats, right? How does someone then find a way to truly forgive themselves for doing something so heinous to their partner if they want to continue in the relationship?
Well, it depends on a couple of things. Has that person confessed? Has that person at least confessed to themselves in that bathroom mirror? I cheated. So here's the question, really, Will. Is there truth at the core of what that person's telling themselves, or are they invested in a lie that continues? Oh, it's not really cheating. We haven't had a great sex life for a long time. She's a better mother than she is a lover, or, whatever movie you tell yourself, right? Whatever lines you're telling yourself. Until there's truth, you can't heal it.
So that's the first step, is to learn your own truth, accept it, and then what strikes me, the reason why I asked the question is that woman who had the abortion needed that forgiveness from a Catholic way.
In
right? So
a Catholic way,
on
yes.
the person, right? Depending on that person that cheated, how they would need that forgiveness. So it's a matter of finding that, or how they were raised. How does someone go about doing that?
Well, let's find out. This was like in my situation. My mother never cheated, but my mother was an alcoholic. And when I was a kid, this is kind of dramatic, put your seatbelts on. My dad was killed in a plane crash when I was 5.
Ooh, yikes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, awful, right? Her best friend died. My mother had 3 kids under the age of 5 in 1963, right? Like, ugh. Well, what did she do? She moved into a martini glass. She couldn't deal with the feelings. Okay. I adored my mother. Do not misunderstand. She's long gone, though, right? So what did she do after that? She married 3 alcoholics in a row. She had something she had to learn. So was she cheating? She felt like she was cheating on my dad. Now, that wasn't real cheating, right? So it depends on how it's hooked up. If you have a dad or a mom who's a serial cheater and you know about that as a kid, man, you're going to have something hooked up completely different than if it was, your high school girlfriend in church choir who cheated on you by kissing your best friend behind the backstop one day.
How did you know?
I'm so sorry, Will.
Matt, if you're listening to this, I still have that in my head.
See? But you know what? That would actually be true. It wouldn't be that emotionally intense because you're an adult, but you could, like, with your defenses down, if it ever happened again, you could go right back there, right?
Sure.
It's the incepting event. It's what started the behavior now that where is it seeded? And it doesn't matter if it was seeded 3 weeks ago, 3 years ago, or 3 lifetimes ago.
Right.
Whether you believe that or not, even if it's just a metaphor. Sometimes past life stuff helps people look at their own life trajectory really clearly in a way that they can't do it when they see themselves as the hero of the story, right? One of the things I do with clients of mine all the time is I tell their life as a fairy tale. Right? Once upon a time, there was a handsome prince named Will and a beautiful princess named Karen. Long ago and far away in a land and a time not unlike our own. And then I'd say to you, okay, we know how it ends. It ends and they all lived happily ever after. You guys tell me the middle. What happened? How did they get to happily ever after, Karen and Will? It's really empowering because it's just one step removed from, oh my God, somebody cheated with your nose against the glass, right? Well, it's how do you get some perspective on yourself so that you can begin to see your own patterns. And you'll see your own patterns if you'll pay attention to the energetic reactions that you have to things.
So listen to your body and its reaction.
Listen to your body. You know, I had a girlfriend once who had an ex-girlfriend, and she took the two of us out for dinner one night. The ex-girlfriend's name was Maureen. That may not seem significant, but it is. And halfway through dinner, she said to us both, how's your dinner, sweetie? And we both looked up and said, fine, just like we both would have, right? And it was awful. And, you know, I was, 20 when that happened. And I still don't like people named Maureen. I'm 64. That is ridiculous. Right. I know that's ridiculous. I know I traced it. I know where it came from. I have met Maureens that I know and love since then, but I still have an initial energetic reaction to Maureen.
Interesting.
Wow.
Silly, huh? But at least I know.
Right. So this is wonderful information, but for someone that's coming to this completely clean, maybe it might help if we go through the chakras and identify where they are, what they rule, and what colors they are, so they can at least have a starting point. Okay.
The first chakra is red. It's called your root chakra, and it is life.
Life.
It's your tribe. It's survival. It's food, clothing, shelter, warmth, basic survival.
And where can one find the root chakra?
The root chakra is found at the perineum, so it's between all the goodies at the bottom.
That's a great way to put it.
I could be more specific, but
no, it's all good.
So if you had an episiotomy.
Yes, you know exactly where it is then. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But that cuts out a lot of the civilization because there are plenty of people who haven't. Right? So the second chakra.
Yes. Present company included.
Absolutely. The second chakra is right by your belly button. It's your sacral chakra, and it's about what you're passionate about. What you do, for example, if you had all the money in the world and it would help you lose time, like that excitement, right? Oh, man. Okay. Then your third chakra is egg yolk yellow. It's at your solar plexus, and it's power. It's your power in the world. It's your self-esteem. Your fourth chakra is emerald green, sort of leprechaun green. And it's your personal love. And it's actual love.
In your chest?
Yes. Right? Where your actual heart is. Right? Your fifth chakra is in your throat. It's turquoise. And it's about creativity. It's speaking into reality the things that you dream. Gee, wouldn't it be fun to have a podcast? Here we are talking on a podcast. Cool. Right?
And a radio show.
And a radio show. And a YouTube channel.
Yes.
See, there are lots of things here. Okay, your sixth chakra is indigo. Indigo is that funny color that's purple blue that no one can ever figure out what it is. It's not the color of jeans, and it's not the color of eggplants, but it's somewhere between them, right? And this is intuition. This is where you know and you don't know how you know. Your 7th chakra is violet, which is a brilliant purple, and it's abundance.
Oh.
It's your sense of wealth and belonging in the world, right? And your 8th chakra is your compassion chakra, right? And it is how you deal with the things that you wish to reject in this world. And we are instantly and often rejecting other things and other people and parts of ourselves so quickly and so often that we don't even know we're doing it most of the time. Right? You read an op-ed piece in the New York Times and you disagree with whatever so-and-so has said about vaccines or Democrats or Republicans or purple people eaters. It doesn't really matter which. And you judge. And there you are. This is where you put that so that it doesn't hurt you or anyone you love.
And that is outside of your body, or is it still aligned?
It's outside of your body. It's about 6 inches outside of your body.
Gotcha.
Interesting to me that the chakra that represents God's love is associated with the gland that is all about immunity, right? Impersonal love is what keeps us safe. Impersonal love is what makes us not hurtable by things that we would otherwise let hurt us, right? I did a podcast not long ago with a chiropractor, and she was talking about how, generally speaking, the chiropractors she knows are against vaccinations. And she said, I really believe that we all need to be inclusive in this world. And I agree too. But she said, the minute I talk to anti-vaxxers about including people who believe in vaccines, it doesn't go over big. Right? So we were talking about putting the anti-vaxxers in her 8th chakra, right? Like, oh, okay. I live between a serious liberal and a serious MAGA guy. They both do the snow blowing. I don't argue with them. I just love them.
Right.
Okay,
That's all you can
guys,
do.
no problem, right? Because, I think honestly, somebody asked me once what I thought the big thing missing from the spiritual growth movement was. And I said, MYOB. Mind your own business. Right? We spend so much time minding other people's business.
That's very true.
And it's interesting because this spiritual path is really a personal one, right? We all have a different path, and we need to learn to accept that not everyone is on the same path as we are, and we got to be okay with that.
Well, not only do we have to be okay with that, but gosh, when you're not okay with it, or when you need me to agree with your spiritual path, holy moly, you have such a paltry hold on your own spiritual path if you need me to agree with you. Holy moly, if you need, I don't know, Ronald McDonald to be your Lord and Savior, go for it, darling. That's not my thing. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm more of a Bozo the Clown guy myself.
Okay. You can have Bozo the Clown. He's all yours, but that's not my path, right? My path is the path of the Divine Mother. Well, my mother died when I was young. I was 40, and I needed a God that looked like me.
Sure.
Okay. Right? I had somebody say to me the other day, well, if Jesus Christ isn't your Lord and Savior, you're going straight to hell. I said, oh, honey, all my friends will be there.
That'll be my whole fun there.
Right. I mean, but, that tentative hold on your own growth is painful.
Right.
You're better off taking your time and digging in and figuring out your way to see the wholeness that's all around us. Right? That's how I define metaphysics. I mean, the word metaphysics actually means beyond the physical, and it is based on the fact that Aristotle wrote a book called The Physics, which was the 7th book he wrote, and the 8th book he wrote was called The Metaphysics, which was beyond the physical. That's the only reason it was called that, right? But for me, when I first learned about metaphysics, I thought, oh, I get this. I can do it in 5 words. Here we go. You ready? Seatbelts, everybody. You're God. I'm God. Go. If I treat you like you are the holiness that you actually are, then I can expect to be treated like the holiness that I actually am.
Mm.
Do you have any idea how hard that is?
As a matter of fact, I do.
It is hard to
And I'm
do.
trying.
But that's how I think we are all meant to live.
Right.
Mhm.
All
I
of
think
us.
part of the problem is when that's not reciprocated, though.
That's what the eighth chakra's for. Right? It doesn't have to be reciprocated. I don't need you to treat me like I'm God. Mm-mm. I mean, it'd be nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if you can't do that because of where you are on your path, that's not my job to judge that. That's my job is to love you there.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole namaste movement, right? Namaste means I acknowledge the divinity within you. So I think that has a lot of merit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes making decisions about behaviors and words very simple.
For sure.
Because if I wouldn't say it, I mean, the way I measure it for me is if I wouldn't say it to the Blessed Virgin Mary to her face, I'm not saying it to you.
Right.
Well, that makes for some quiet. Let me tell you.
Especially with some specific people, but yeah.
That's exactly right. But I am not interested in ever adding to the harm in this world. And I know I add to the harm in this world, and I don't do it on purpose. But, I read an op-ed piece and I think, how could, there it is.
Yep,
Right? Would I say that to the Blessed Mother? Probably not. I'd say, how do you read these things? She'd probably tell me she didn't.
Yeah, you just said my normal nature, my normal stature. That's my normal state for some reason these days. But
life is hard these days. Our planet is based on polarity. What we've done with polarity is made it polarization. It's like polarity times 1,000. Yeah. That's not what night day, right? Night and day don't need to be longer or shorter. They manage it themselves. Everything's okay, right? But no. If you disagree with me, then
you're wrong.
What?
You're a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. I'm a terrible person if I don't agree with you. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a grown up enough to go, oh, honey, that's not true.
All right. Well, I definitely want to take some time because we're running out of time, but I want to talk about your books. I know that you are a prolific writer. You write both fiction and nonfiction. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, your latest books are actually 8 latest books, and they're energy integrity, and they're workbooks, and each one corresponds to a different chakra. Is that right?
That's correct. So that you can get to know your own energy system. You could come to a workshop with me and we could spend all day and I could be talking about this, about chakras and that about chakras, or you could read 93 books on chakras because I've been reading them all. And you know what? It doesn't teach you how to work with them. I'm interested in applied knowledge. How? Oh, chakras, cool. How do I work with these to make my life better? Not only that, but how do I work with these to help my 3-year-old stop having such bad tantrums? I teach my 3-year-old about the chakras because you know what? The 3-year-old already knows about the chakras, right? The 3-year-old goes, well, yeah, Mom, what? Right? So the workbooks are actual workbooks. They're physical books. They're not, you can't get ebooks so that you can read through the exercises. No. I suppose you could, but there are places for you to write your own story. There are places for you to draw pictures. There are places for you to get conscious about what you've stored in that chakra system. That's running your life. And you then get a choice. Do I really want this to run my life? Maybe I don't. Maybe I'd like something else to drive my bus, like me.
What a concept.
I know. I would like to offer your listeners a gift, if I might.
Oh.
Well, and this is
not only do our listeners like gifts, but we do too. So please,
and you actually. There is something that I developed called the less mores with the chakras. And the less mores are behaviors that you can start doing right now to work with your chakra system today. So let's talk about your first chakra, right? So the less more is complain less and thank more, right?
Gotcha.
So this gift is a list of all the less mores on a pretty piece of paper. It's a digital download. You could go right now to chakras.susancorso.com, which I'm sure you'll put in the show notes,
Absolutely.
and download one of two different versions, because I'm a Libra and I couldn't decide which one I liked better. It's the truth. And you could start working with your chakras before dinner.
Nice.
I think I
Right
will.
now,
Thank you
listen.
very much.
You're welcome. Now, what will happen is that's a free gift, and I mean that. You don't have to put your email address in. You don't have to earn it. You just go there, chakras.susancorso.com, and the things come up and you download them. Now, I'll confess, there is a second window that comes up that asks for your email address if you want to know more about my chakra work. But you don't have to pay with your email address to get the gift.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's incredibly wonderful of you to share that, to offer that to our listeners and to us, because I'm going to take advantage of it.
I know, right? I love that. Kind of quick and easy. What can I do? What can I do right
Well-
now?
Well, and you know what? You'll know if you need to do less of something or more of something, right? Because here you are with the first chakra one, less complain less, thank more. Have I been showing my gratitude to people enough lately? Maybe not. I'm going to work and I'm going to say thank you to every single person I encounter for one thing or another, right? Or, I know it. I have been complaining. I'm a shut up. Right? You will know which one is your job that day. And I do them. I'm in the process of developing a card deck for learning how to work with your chakras. I'm not there yet, but I absolutely will get there. But
Very cool.
the less mores are the fastest and dirtiest way I know for you to make change immediately. And the thing that I find so amazing about the chakra system, the human energy system, is there's no cost. Other than you're attending to, it's not a mistake that the phrase is pay attention, right? Because if you are paying attention to your chakras, you're probably not watching The Sound of Music at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But if you learn to pay attention to your chakras, you make a difference in your everyday life. And that's worth gold as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Well, we're going to add that link and a lot of other ones. We'll add links to your website and all that kind of stuff on
Thank
our
you.
show notes. So if you're listening to this on the radio right now and you don't have a little I button next to your phone, then just go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to her episode page, Dr. Susan Corso, and you will find the links directly there. All you got to do is click and it'll take you directly there. No mess, no fuss. If you're listening to this on your phone, like I am, all you need to do is hit that little I button and it'll take you to the show notes. You will see the links and you can click it directly from your phone. It makes it super easy. So, Dr. Susan Corso, thank you so much for coming on the show. You have shared an awful lot of information with us. And I know that I'm going to go download that Less More document because I need immediate change and I really need it.
I think we're going to stick them around the house.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a
They're
great
very
idea.
pretty. They're very pretty. I want to thank you both for spending this time with me because I really, really liked your questions.
Thank you.
Well-
we have a lot of them.
Well, yay. Someone liked our questions, Karen. It sure beats the last guest. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud?
You might want to take that out.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, no, just teasing. Doc, thank you so much again. I really appreciate you spending your time with us today.
My sincere pleasure.
And thank you, listener, for coming along on this journey of discovery. We'd love to continue our conversation with you on our website or on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us there under @skepticmetaphysician or, of course, skepticmetaphysician.com. And if you are listening to this on the radio and you missed something, not to worry, all of our shows, including this one, can be found at skepticmetaphysician.com, where you can also watch the videos or even send us email or voicemails directly from the site. We absolutely love feedback and would appreciate hearing from you as well. We hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. That's all for now. We'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.